Suppose that I had. Okay, now it
Now
is.
it is. Now it is. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Zoom's got some new settings. So thank you everyone for turning on this video and watching Nancy Marco here with Pedro. Is it Espadas?
Espadas.
Espadas.
That means swords.
Swords?
Peter Swords. That's my
Wow.
name.
All right, I'm learning. So Pedro and I met at the IEA conference, global conference this spring, and we had a blast. And Pedro said he would love to practice his English by doing a little interview. And I think we'll dive into some real interesting aspects because Pedro's an interesting person. So Pedro, would you start out? Just tell us who you are, about
Well,
yourself.
some people think that I am an interesting person. I'm not sure.
I
but
found you interesting.
but no, because I make an effort to look interesting. I'm a social seven, so for me it's important to be look as someone interesting. So that will open me many doors. No, I mean I call myself an artist because for me the more important thing in life is about expression, and I work expression in a way that I learned from a teacher that told me that expression was desintoxication. I don't know if the same disintoxication. So
Mhm.
everything you express and put out of yourself is not a poison inside of you. Okay. So for me, that's a way of understanding the world and things that we try to express to change what is around us, you know? So some part of me has been doing that. In the beginning, I started doing advertising, then I went to the theater as an actor, and now I work with the Enneagram, but always with the same hope, because for me, it's important to try to express things that help other people to be aware of how we live our lives, what is important for us. Are we congruent? Are we coherent? Are we living our lives in a meaning way for us? So that's, you can do it through many tools, and now this moment is with Enneagram. So I was a guy born in a very small town in the south of Spain, and everything was so boring, no options, no opportunities. So in that moment, I was living my life through the television. I mean, I was seeing in television many experiences that one day I will be able to have, you know? So in one moment when the university time came, I went to Madrid and I went to the university, and this kind of world started to uh, open for me, and started to be in contact with painters and with singers and with artists. And at the same time, I was studying a double degree in law and economics. So
Oh my
there was,
goodness.
so there was, but at this, it's interesting because that make me a balance about being realistic and not becoming such an idealistic artist, and understanding that art has to be able to be sustainable in the world, that you need to have foundations, and you have to eat every day, and you need to have a house. I've never been a hippie in that way. So
But you didn't do law.
mm, no,
You
no, I didn't do law, but I know how to write a contract, and how to read a contract, and I know my rights, and that gives you a vision of the world. So when I was an actor, and the producer was offering terms for the contract that was not legal, I was laughing
mm,
inside, and I preferred to show me as a silly guy that didn't understand, because I knew that this contract could not be taken to the tribunal for an appealing or whatever, because it was illegal. So that gives you another point of view. And for example, when we talk about the International Enneagram Association, so there's a contract between the Spanish affiliate and the global. So I have a problem with the global. I go to the contract.
Oh, I didn't know that. You
So,
were working on that
no.
bond.
It's not that I'm working. It's a way of looking at the world that I was learning in the university. And at the same time, I learned that everything around us is a big market where
Yeah.
almost everything has a price. And that's not. I'm not judging that, but when I see myself among any other teachers. Of course, we can see ourselves as people that try to enlighten the world, but at the same time, I see a business competitors in my same market, and those realities are living together. So I think that studying law and economics was very healthy for me,
Yeah.
for what was coming later in my life.
I'm also seeing that connection from 7 to 5 and 6, the head center in what you're talking about. Because being a heart-centered, having a heart-centered lens, I'm weak there. I would just trust the contract. I wouldn't question it.
I mean, it's more that and taking advantage of what you have, because I just wanted to be an artist and came to Madrid, which is the biggest Spanish city, and my parents didn't want me to come, so I had to accept to come to a very important private university in this double degree program that was very important, and important people in Spain were sending their children to study. So it was like an agreement between my parents and I. They will support me in Madrid. I can explore my artistic world, and at the same time, I was becoming a profitable son citizen. you know.
Well, it's good balance between
Yeah, yeah,
creativity and logic. It's a head center
yeah.
balance that's important.
But what I thought, I noticed it was stupid is not using everything that I have learned in the university just because I wanted to be an artist. Okay,
But you
so
were
that.
using it. You were
Yeah,
using
no,
it.
no, but in the beginning, I was refusing that part of me,
Oh,
because I was so stressed to belong to the artist world that I was not telling what I was studying in the university. So,
mhm.
so that I create a split in myself, and this I noticed I was stupid because I have more resources than other, so use
Yeah,
them.
yeah, 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 yeah. So then where did the Enneagram come in?
The Enneagram came in because I wanted to be a better actor, and being an actor and being a seven, uh, one of my teacher said that I was not able to lose on a stage. I have this tendency to win, that even when I'm losing, I show my happiness face. And there was a moment when in the 19th there was many plays and many films about the anti-hero. They're not brilliant hero. Uh, so I cannot go there because my personality didn't allow me to take as a failure or suffering. So I could not play suffering. I was
Right.
it
Because
was
the
very
seven
they
avoids that. The seven
yeah.
avoids it. Yeah.
So suffering was not allowed in my life, so was not allowed in a stage. So
But the Enneagram, as you learn it, you can draw upon that invisible line to 4, where on the stage you can allow yourself to be the full spectrum. But personally, that must have changed you too dramatically, because that moves you up the levels into that presence, into joy being the cradle no matter what. but
Yeah,
not a
but
math.
mm, there is a delicate balance in the acting about what is true and what is created, you know. And at the same time, I was so young, so I was not an expert actor. Also, I was learning. I was in the school, the drama school. So it's like, well, I need to learn to suffer. I need to learn to embrace failure, at least on a stage. So one of my teachers used to talk about a character that we acquired for living. We all play a character to be accepted. So that was the definition of the Enneatype. So when I learned about there's a system that explains that there are 9 different personalities and you can use them to create characters,
Right.
I I jump into without thinking, you know?
The Enneagram has been used for many, many years for character building in the film
Mm,
business, in the arts.
mm,
Yeah,
mhm.
I was introduced to that when I first came into the Enneagram. There was a woman whose name is eluding me, but she worked in
Gail Spot.
Gail Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, she worked with uh, writers to
Mhm.
build characters using the Enneagram. Yeah, Gail Scott. Thank you. Type 1. See, I remember. I remember her.
So, you know, my first calling to the Enneagram was to be a better actor. So I was so uh, I don't know, I felt in love with the Enneagram and with the possibilities, and I wanted to learn more and more and more. So I started to take trainings in the Enneagram Institute, in the Helen Parmel School, with Mario Sicora, with Uranio Paez, with everybody. I wanted to know everything, you know, and at the same time, um, I started to also grow up as an actor. So I was allowing myself to experience things on a stage. I was liberating from my day-to-day character. So I was able to play things, not even using the Enneagram. It's just because working with the Enneagram on myself was doing my personality to be a lighter, so that allows me to get into different expression of things that I was not available, that were not available for me then, you know.
So it wasn't a
So
direct application. It was from you doing the personal
yeah, yeah.
work. Then it
It was
opened.
and as a result, I went into a stage with less armor, more
How
open,
long
more.
ago was that, Pedro? How long ago?
But we're talking about 2000. My first contact with the Enneagram was 2004, and my first Enneagram real training in the Enneagram Institute was 2008.
Okay.
So in
Yeah.
that moment, I was playing Mr. Smee in a musical of Peter Pan.
You have a beautiful voice. I've gotten to hear you sing. So
Thank you.
beautiful.
So that was part of the process. And then there was a moment that the Enneagram has so much weight in my life. And there was a crisis in 2011 in the theater in Spain. So they started to offer me the same kind of characters I've been doing. So there was not creative challenge. And at the same time, not so good terms, not the same money, not the same hotels, you know. And there was people asking about the Enneagram. So I naturally went to teach the Enneagram and to share what I have been learning with all these teachers and trainings.
So were you teaching primarily people who are artists or just anybody, everybody? How did that
Well,
look?
what I have to say is that I've never been able to teach artists. That was my desire. My true dream will be that a company, a theater company, uh, mm, invites me to be in the creative process of a play and working with all the characters, with all the actors in their characters. That would be a
Yeah.
dream. Yeah,
Yeah.
to
I
develop
hope that
something.
comes true for you. Because
But
we know Gail did it, so you can do it.
well, Gail was in the writing, which is a different thing. You know, I want to be in the rehearsals of a play and being part of the creative team. You
Okay.
know,
So on the floor. Yeah.
yeah, you know. And the thing is that some people are working with the Enneagram for actors in Spain, and I know some of them, and they are very good. But let's say that they use the Enneagram to stereotypes, which
Mm.
can be very useful.
It
Imagine
can.
that,
Okay.
imagine that you are an actress, okay, and you receive today a test because tomorrow you are going to be in a chapter of a TV movie, but you don't know the full script, but you know that it's someone that is going to the police to say someone has stolen my car, okay? And you
Okay.
don't have information to create a real character. So you ask yourself, how would a five do it? How would an eight do it? So you take
Very
the stereotype
differently. Yeah.
and then you can create something interesting in these 3 minutes. So it's very good. I'm not criticizing that at all, but I
Yeah,
want to
that's a
do,
good way to use the stereotypes. I've always been resistant to the stereotype because the spectrum of the type is so large. Yeah.
yeah. So in those years, I also did the any emotion training with Andrea Isaacs,
Andrea, yeah, so
you
good.
know. So one of the things that I want to do is use the any emotion and how you can take your body to the lower levels to create the character.
Yeah.
So I want to go further than that. But the
Yeah.
truth is, I have not had that opportunity, because
Yes.
it's not about you teaching the actors. It's you become involved in the production of the play, and that has not happened. Okay, if it has to happen, it will happen when it's the moment. So my main teaching is with people that want to change their lives and they don't know how to do it because they are trapped in their patterns.
Yeah, in the loops. Yeah.
Mhm.
So are you doing coaching with the Enneagram or more teaching or how are you
I I
using it?
I only do teaching because I am not a therapist and I am not a coach.
Me
You
neither.
know, so I'm just teaching. I love to work with groups. I know that what you do in groups when you are teaching can be therapeutic, but it's not the same as presenting myself as a therapist. And at the same time, I am a social type. So for me, work with groups is very natural. It's easy. I have the energy. I flow. I feel secure.
And you're entertaining.
Yeah, and I'm sexual blind. So being focused in one person is very hard for me. you know.
That's one of my strong points. So, yeah,
So being a
so
coach or being
larger
a
groups are
therapist,
happy for you.
yeah, exactly. Is what is naturally easy for me. I can go very deep with a friend telling me a problem, and I can, but not with someone that I don't know and maybe I don't like. You need to be professional to work with someone that you think is not a good person or is not a person that deserves attention but punishment. So I don't know
That's
if I
again
am
the
able.
lens. That's the lens of the type too, because that's one of my blind spots with a two lens is it's so easy for me to see the good in everyone, and it takes me a while to um, get a bigger picture, I'll say.
So, on the other hand, you have to consider that being a seven is not easy to be there listening to people complaining, and not doing anything to change.
Yeah,
What
staying in their
what
story,
what what what
staying in the
I under
loop.
what I understand that has a meaning and a sense, and there are reasons for that. But for me, it's not easy to be there, you
Right,
know,
I
and it's
understand.
and it's very difficult to focus my attention for a long time in something that I will simply will say, "Come on, move your ass and do something. Stop complaining."
That's your 8 wing.
Yeah,
But
you know, but
your 5 moving down to the 5 really can put you in inquiry. That curiosity of why are they looping that way? Yeah. Yeah.
so I work with groups. I teach groups. I teach people that wants to grow and to develop, and sometimes we are reaching the spiritual part of the Enneagram. Other times are not uh, asked for. So we stop in the psychological, okay? But I'm not good in therapy or coaching. I even design a method called the FACE method for coaching and therapies. I work with that with a therapist that is a friend of mine. So we use the Enneagram and we develop a process in 9 steps, you know.
So
But
you can refer them to the friend that's the therapist if they
yeah, I
need.
know when someone needs therapy, I always give the name of one friend, because
Yeah.
this is not what I do, and it's not about I can do it or not. I'm not interested. I'm not motivated to do it.
Yeah.
So I don't think that there's a reason for doing things in professionally that does not motivates you when you are like me, single with no children to take care of to pay the university. Okay, if I
Yeah.
will marry and I have a family, probably I will take any opportunity to earn money for them, but I'm single, so my life is easier.
Well, or more complicated.
Well, my last years will be more complicated for sure.
So you talked a little bit, my next question was like, how does the Enneagram um, make life better for you or not? And you touched upon that, but anything else you want to add on
Well,
that?
my simplest idea is, thanks to the Enneagram, I go to sleep peacefully every night. You know, when I was younger and I went to sleep thinking about everything that I want to do tomorrow and all the boring things that I uh, place out for another moment, and went to sleep, my mind went crazy about all the plans or the ideas or all the frustration of not getting some things. So Enneagram has brought understanding and acceptance about how life is, and that every day we have brilliant moments and dark and sad moments, and you have to accept them. And everything flowing is not about flowing when everything is easy. Flowing is being able to flow when things are hard and are easy. So
Yeah.
my big uh, advantage that I benefit or that I got from the Enneagram is in the moment of going to sleep, is being able to say the day was okay, tomorrow there's another opportunity. There is a book called The Four Agreements. You know that
Yes, I
book?
know it. Yeah. Miguel
So
Ruiz.
in that book, Miguel introduced the salute to the angel of death. You know, in the beginning, in the morning, you say,
Hmm.
"Hello, angel of death. I thank you for everything that you are going to allow me today."
Yeah.
So for me, I changed that, doing it like saying thank you for what I had the day. So as I accept the day that I had, and I accept the life that I have, I'm ready to die if tonight is the moment. It's not that, no, I cannot die because I have so many things to do. I used to be. And when I had many things to do, of course, I was a person very scared of dying.
Yeah. Oh, you've just captured so much the growth path of the seven, the virtue, the holy idea, this presence that the seven embraces, and the release of the fear around, safety, like just to be fully in that law of seven, that flow. So beautiful. Yeah.
So then, and it is something that I learned from my first Enneagram teacher, from Concha. When you don't like what is happening in your life, you tell to yourself, this must have a sense. Although
Yes.
I
How
can,
is this good? Yeah.
no. Even if I cannot see it now, I accept that I cannot see what is the sense, but
Yeah.
nothing in my life is a nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
That's
know.
the law of seven. Yeah. Yeah. I
So
use how is this good even when it's not good and I'm suffering, but when I say that, I wonder how this is good. It opens the door for me to go from being contracted. This is, I must resist this to
mhm.
being receptive
So
to whatever it is.
it's like you're trying to fulfill a puzzle with your life, and then you have a piece that has a different color to all the
Yeah.
others.
Doesn't
But
fit.
you have to accept that that piece belongs to your puzzle and
Yeah.
keep it there until you know where to put it.
Until it fits. Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think that all this understanding came to me through the Enneagram training and working with myself and not judging myself but accepting myself and taking responsibility for the suffering that my seven has created to many people that has had felt manipulated by me and you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And before we started recording, we were talking a little bit about the bigger picture, the world picture, and we dove into. I think it's a topic that really is important because um, labels. We were talking about labels and how the Enneagram starts out with type. You find yourself a type, and people then identify with that. You might find a wing, you might find an instinct, but then the unpacking of that, and then you took it into even a bigger picture of the labels that we have as individuals, groups that we label ourselves with, and how in the biggest picture the Enneagram reveals to us we're not these labels, and we are one. We are. You used the human race. Do you want to talk more about that?
Yeah, let me close the door that opens for a moment because my parents are downstairs watching the TV.
Okay.
So, um, I am a social seven, okay? And I am very social. So, for me, if there is something important in the world, if there is something that has value in the world, is what we call people, okay? I'm not talking about males, females, children, no, people. And you in the States used to have a group that was called Viva la Gente. You remember Viva la Gente? Well, there was a group that of people singing, and they came to Europe and they were singing in Spanish Viva la Gente, which means hooray for people, which is the
Oh,
you
up with people, up with people.
okay, so
Yes, yes.
so it's that spirit, people, and there is people all around the world, and good people for good people, will change the world. Okay, so when you go to a place and see people, you can relax. But the problem is that our ego mind creates splits and say, my people. These are my people because they are like me, because they are with some political idea, with some sexual preference, with some whatever. So
Right.
then I feel that I belong to my people, but the other people becomes something different. Hopefully something not dangerous, but maybe I can start to see people like dangerous, you know? So there's the idea of people is broken. We don't see that we all belong to the same group of
Right.
whatever you can call it. Okay?
Right. The us and them versus the we were talking about. Yeah.
So here's where the labeling starts and defines what my people are. So the other are not my people. And there is no generosity in the ego. There is no sharing in the ego. So if there
No,
is
it's fear.
something good,
It's fear. Yeah.
if there is something good in the world, I want it for my people, you know? And this is the beginning of all the problems. And as I was telling you, it's okay that we fight and make revolutions for the black people rights or the gay people rights or whatever people rights, but we forget that all the rights are not coming from our labels, are
No.
coming because we are people. All the
From the
rights
wholeness. Yeah.
are, are human rights, and we
Yeah.
forget about that. So you have a lot of groups with their label, with a good intention, because they are trying to be equal.
Trying to make the balance. Right.
But the point is that they forgot that we are people, that all the people are the same.
Right.
So, and there is not a choice of this one or not this one. It's not about I don't want people to go to gay pride. It's okay to go to gay pride, but don't forget to feel pride for being human, because
Right.
that's what really gives you rights. You
For
know,
all people. Yeah. Yeah.
big,
For finding the good in everyone. And this is the Enneagram, is that there's 9 different lenses, there's 9 different aspects of truth. But without all of it, we can't just have one that creates an imbalance. We need to hold it all. I really
so,
hear you saying that.
there's something very crazy about saying we want to be equal, we want to be treated equal, but don't forget that we like yellow. You know, and too much focus on yellow, like if like in yellow becomes something important. So I will tell you a story about
Or
my
you want
childhood.
everyone to like it, and
Yeah,
that's the wrong idea, because that takes out the diversity. Wholeness is diversity, not sameness. That you were saying that before. It's not
yeah.
all of us being the same.
So for me, when I was a child, I am the second son of my parents. I'm just 11 months younger than my brother.
Wow.
And
Like twins.
my brother was the first grandson of the two grandmothers. So it was like the prince coming to the royal family. So I arrived there trying to make a space for myself.
Yeah, who are you? Yeah.
So in many things, as a child, I defined myself as the opposite of my brother. So if my brother wanted to be a cowboy, I wanted to be a Cherokee. And my brother was older, so he was positioning all the time before me. But my only option to have a space in the world was going to the opposite.
Was to react to him. Yeah.
Yeah. So when my brother was about 5 years or something like that, he decided that his favorite meal was something that we call cocido in Spain. So I could not eat cocido for
Oh
a long
no.
time in my life because
Did you like it though?
I was convinced that everybody that likes cocido and enjoys cocido was silly people.
Oh dear.
So
Yeah, the us and them. The us and
my,
them.
my,
Yeah.
my poor mother, being a self-preservation six, has to cook something different for me every time that my brother wants to have his favorite meal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I arrived 20 years later when I was in Madrid and I was invited to a friend's home to have lunch and they put me cocido. There was like a challenge for me. And then I have to do it because I'm a social,
Yes,
and
yes. You want to be
nobody,
happy.
and 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 you are not going to tell a family that you have already met. You are all silly because you offer me cocido.
No.
So I try cocido and it is, oh, this is very good. Oh my God, I am the silly because for 20 years I have been denying to myself the possibility of enjoying cocido.
I bet you
And
that made your mama happy.
yeah, no, but the funny thing is, even noticing that and starting to be able to eat cocido outside my home, it took me 10 years to cook cocido for myself at home. So, I mean, this is
Yeah.
an example as the things that we do with labels when we want to be the clever and the handsome and the taller and whatever, you
Right. The
know,
unpacking of that loop, that belief system that is delusional, from the lens perspective. Yeah.
but makes me feel secure, makes me feel right,
Safe. Safe. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Special.
So, so,
Different.
so,
Yeah.
so, I mean, for me, it's not important what is your favorite meal. And for putting a metaphor, I don't care what you put in your mouth. So don't tell me what is your sexual preference. I don't care. It doesn't make you special. You don't have a
No, it's
right.
just who
You
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 are. It's who
exactly.
you are.
And even you can change it. Change it. You can try other things. I don't care. I mean, what you do in your home, in your private life. That
Yeah,
that
I
that.
I I get it. I get it. I think it's I just honor you, but I'm not going to when you're saying I don't care, you're saying I'm not going to try to control you. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
It doesn't make you less, it doesn't make you more. It's just who
E-
you are.
Exactly. You know. But at the same time, if we have these groups telling us they want their rights and they suffer discrimination, okay, and the real truth is that everywhere is this discrimination because you go to an interview job and they discriminate you because you are fat or old or hard glasses
Or
or have
female
spots, you
right?
know.
Or you wear glasses or you're short or
So
you
this
yeah.
discrimination is everywhere. So unless we take consideration of that we all discriminate people and accept that and don't lie to ourselves, that discrimination is even if you take any of these groups, you will find discrimination inside of them.
And yet there is more discrimination in some areas than others.
Of course.
And that's the purity of organizations. I'm thinking of just right now in the US. I don't know if you're aware, but something that's been up for me, there's great flooding. There was a typhoon in Alaska
Mhm.
and it affected the indigenous people there. And it took days for it to even make it to the news,
Mhm.
because of the people that it was affecting. there is, sadly, discrimination of that these groups of people, the natives of Alaska, are less important.
Hmm. Okay,
And
so we have this idea, and we have to recognize that we all suffer and practice discrimination.
yeah,
Okay, that's a reality. But at the same time, don't we have the freedom of choosing? So if,
yes, that's where the
if
Enneagram invites us into seeing our choices.
no, I mean, if I have to hire a person for a job, don't I have the right to choose what I prefer? If I prefer a woman, a man, an older person, and younger person, because that person is going to work for me and I'm going to pay. And that it's not about discrimination, it's about my preference, you know?
Well, I would say we have to be honest with ourselves to ask ourselves, am I discriminating or am I choosing the best person? Because this is an inside thing. That's why it
But yeah,
becomes
yeah. But this is very interesting that you said the best person, because that suppose that there is a, rules about it, what is the best. But it doesn't matter. Sometimes it's not the best. Sometimes it's going to be easier for me to have a person that shares something with me because it's from the south of Spain, for example. I'm not discriminating people from the north of Spain, but if I have to hire someone, I prefer someone that has a culture more familiar with mine, you know?
oh, but isn't that the us and them? Like, so couldn't we switch it to I might be curious about somebody who's different than me?
Well,
Because you're talking about comfort zone.
yeah, but at the same time, for any other task, I could prefer someone that has a very different view from mine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's complex.
So,
I think it's
yeah,
complex.
that's why I say I need the freedom to choose, and I will decide my criteria that it doesn't have to be the same, you know. So the point is that we are trying all the time to do the proper thing, the correct thing. So I will not discriminate. I will not, oh, this person is from a collective. But you said perfectly, we have to be honest. And being honest it means that not all the people fits the same with me. Not all the people looks charming. I like their sense of humor. For me, it's very difficult to work with a person that is never on time. I don't know, whatever it is, you know.
Yeah.
So we have to be honest and say, okay, you have the freedom to do whatever you want to do, and I have the freedom to do what I want to do, which is uh, choose people that fits with my way of living.
I think that ideally, like I hear you and I agree with you that freedom is important until it's not unless it's not from a place of consciousness, which is all nine. The Enneagram gives us the map of, honesty at 3 and consciousness at 5 and, loving at 2 and accepting at 3, all of those points, because freedom is when a person says, I want the freedom to do this, but it's harming a group of people, that's lost. That's not coming, that's freedom that's not coming from awareness or awakeness or wholeness. Like we
Yeah,
have to have the I mean, yes, if we're hiring somebody, we want to choose the best person, who my husband says this all the time. There he has these 4 things that you need to have to get a job. And one of them is you have to fit with the people who are there. Like if you're an antagonist of the people who are there, you're not going to be a good fit. And
No, you're going to have a drama.
yeah, and yet, oh my God, I just think it's so complex because it has to be freedom that comes from a higher awareness.
Yes or no, because you cannot ask people that has not a big level of awareness to have it if they don't have it. So everyone has to have freedom according to their state, you know.
Even when
But
it harms others, even if it
but
harms others.
but that is a romantic idea for me. What is harming others? What is harming others? I mean,
Okay,
if
so
it,
just from a female point of view, in my life, in my experience, I'm 67, and in my work experiences, I had many situations of um, I couldn't get a certain pay because of my gender. I had just horrible in one job, just a horrible like expectation. This is terrible, but I was in a sales job, and if they would say, if you'll sleep with me, I'll give you the sale, and
Mhm.
I would not.
Okay, but let's. Uh,
That was
I
harming. That would have harmed
no
me.
no no. I would say that that is unfair. Unfair?
Unfair, yeah.
That is unfair. It's not about harming or not harming, because you have to consider that there is a position in a company and there are five candidates. You have to choose one, and then the other four uh, are harmed.
No, I wouldn't
Or
say
you
that would be harming.
or, okay, so, but if we consider that you as human as the other, so maybe is not fair that you do not receive the same treatment as others. Okay?
Yeah, if it was a guy, he would get paid more. If it
Yeah,
was a guy, they would not put that sexual addition into the sale. They would just give
yeah.
the sale. So
But the point that the point is that in my experience, does also happen in the opposite direction.
I'm sure it has.
So
So
so the,
it's
so this is not about. I mean, it's what I will say is unfair if you are the best candidate with the best CV and the best experience that you are not elected. But I wouldn't talk about things in terms of harm, you know, because one of the things that also the Enneagram explained to us is that we manifest ourselves in a different way, even being one, you know. So every one of us is a different manifestation, and
right, a
that
different
that
aspect.
that means difference in the world, you know. So we also have to honor that difference. So when I am not chosen because I am different what the other people prefers, that's one thing, and then that can harm me in a psychological way.
Or
But it's
financially. I mean, financially.
but that is part of learning frustration, because you as a female can do things in the world that a male will never be able to do, like having a baby, you know.
Right, and vice versa. Yeah.
So we are always, and maybe you will find a person that is able to sing at very high notes and you cannot. And so we have to honor the difference and accept that we are different. So if we are different, probably we will never be treated equal. And it's normal. Although sometimes decisions in companies or in life are unfair because, and this is not about being a woman or a man, this is when I have to choose a candidate for a promotion and I will give the promotion to my cousin because it's my cousin. That's unfair.
That's unfair. Nepotism.
Exactly. But I understand that many situations in lives that are unfair and we have to learn to deal with them. And sometimes we have to stand for justice. I absolutely agree with that. But the
Yeah.
other point of view of feeling harm is accepting that I am different. And, I have a very big, fat guy, a friend who is gay. And I was concerned about his health. And I asked him, "You have to lose weight." And he answered me, "You don't know what you're telling me. Because there are some very handsome guys that love fat people."
But that's not what you were saying. You were talking about his health, not
No,
about
no,
his.
but the point is that he considered that being fat was the opportunity to have sex with very handsome people, that they like fat people. And he was accepting his difference and paying the price.
Oh, we are so complex humans, aren't
You
we?
know, I mean, we can see the situation from the point of view of health, of course. It's not
I thought
going.
that's what you were talking about was
No,
his
but
health,
but 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 the,
not his attractiveness.
but the reading is, if I were not so fat, is if I had I don't know how many kilos away, they will not look at me, and
But
I
is
will.
that's a, that's a spin. Or that could be for him not to address his eating issue. I mean, we're complex
No,
humans.
no, absolutely, absolutely. But what I mean is that he was different and he will receive a lot of discrimination around him for being fat.
Sure, he had, the gay and the
But
largeness. Yeah,
he found a place where his difference
is
give them
good.
give
Makes
them
him
value.
special. Makes him special.
And
Yeah.
he was
Well, we
uh,
do that. We do that
uh,
as humans.
he was very comfortable and very happy, and not able to uh, clean his difference.
Well, I
So,
would say he's also in denial of the effects of being extremely overweight. Um,
of
he
course,
didn't
because
want he didn't want to deal with it, so he made up a story
no, but
to
I mean, he was 30, and when you are 30, you think you are immortal, and
right.
you are thinking all the day in sex. So he was in her perfect moment, you know, and he was again in his level of consciousness, and he cannot the same consciousness about what taking care of your body that you have with your age,
Yeah.
you
That
know,
that just I mean, that shows up just in the levels of development that the Enneagram, Don and
and Russ.
Russ came up with. It's and I think it brings me to, because we're not gonna have an answer to this until we come to the law of 3.
Mhm.
And it's at the law of 3 that I believe, I really am into it right now. It's an invitation to transcend the dimension of duality that we live in, which includes the us and them, which includes the delusion and the awakening, which includes these 9 levels of development. And the invitation, as I see it, is to hold the two forces, the opposing forces, which we usually are like this.
Yeah.
So, and that example is he wants to remain overweight because it makes him really sexy. And there's these great, gorgeous men that really like, a very ample other partner versus my thinking of was his health, his heart, his bones, his legs, his muscles, his back, and to be able to not argue, but to
Yeah,
hold both as true. What happens when we do that? I've been practicing with this. It is so much of a challenge to me to hold that neutrality. And what it does when I can do it is it opens up a, a new way of being, or the we. The
yeah.
we. It
That, but
creates the circle. It fuels the law of one.
but
It
in what moment of your life you were able to consider law of three?
just since turning 60.
You, you know.
Well, and studying for, I came into the Enneagram in my late 30s, and it's been a journey. It's been a real journey to I started out with a label.
Yeah,
Wanted to be part of the club, and have a number, and then have a wing, and have a pathway point. And
so,
then
so,
as
so
I dive deeper, it's like, oh my gosh, it's so much more than that. And really studying the fourth way, and really seeing the Enneagram as a map, as a spiritual journey, as an answer to everything that comes up in my life, because it's this invitation to wake up. It's this invitation to include all
yeah,
nine
and
groups, all
and
nine.
you work and work and work and discover that under the layer that you're taking out, there's another layer that you think is not a layer. You have
Yeah,
touching
layer,
something
layer.
real
Yeah,
layer,
yeah,
and you discover that that's not also real, and that is a process. So that's
yeah.
why.
And I could see how when I'm like this, I'm causing my own problems.
Mhm.
But as I can open up, there
Yeah,
are no problems.
because we are full of polarities inside of us, so we
Right.
have to learn to embrace them. But
We
this is
embrace
the.
them, and that's where freedom comes from. Then I
Yeah,
can I can act from freedom, and make the best decision in the
yeah,
now, which
but this
might
is.
not be the best decision later, but in the
and
now.
and this is your moment, and you have an understanding now of the lower three, and probably 10 years, in 10 years you will have a deeper understanding, and this is the process, and we are
This is
always
the law of
learn,
seven.
uh,
It's going
you
to
know
always change. Yeah.
okay, and we are always discovering things, and things that we thought that they were solved, we discover they are not. Something was hidden, so that's the process. So the problem is that we have to consider that many people in the world are not able to see the world as we see it. So if you are 30 and you are fighting with the polarity, oh, I am a woman in a world of men, you know but you have to fight and have that fight until you discover that there's a better way of fighting, and
Or
this is.
I just quit, and I found something that was better for me.
Mhm.
I left the world of sales, and then I went into medicine. I worked in both alternative medicine and allopathic medicine, and I got to be in roles that really made me happy. They were supportive roles. For my type 2 comfort zone, it was where I did have value, and where I was able to make a difference. So maybe it just is always about also not trying to force, I would call it trying to force a square peg into a round hole, you know?
Yeah, and then this is what I was trying to exemplify with my friend, that once you see your difference and honor them, although my friend was doing it in the state of consciousness of the 30s, you know, because I can try to be uh, I can complain for not being so handsome as Brad Pitt, and I can spend my whole life complaining about it. This is not going to change anyone. And I will say, oh, you are discriminating me because I am not so handsome. You know, I said that I have sense of humor that Brad Pitt will never have, you know. So let's
And
move.
beauty is in the eye of the beholder anyway.
Yeah,
So
yeah. That's what my friend was thinking about his weight, you know? So the point is accept who you are and accept that you have reason to be not chosen because other people has other preference. But the point is that if you like yourself, you liberate of uh, have to be liked by the others, you know?
right, right.
And sooner or later you will find someone that likes you, that appreciates
Well,
you,
but
that
you
values.
must, this is point two's path, is we have to love ourselves. So on my personal journey, it was feeling love from the inside out made my whole life change because I was always trying to get love.
Mhm.
But when I came to know I am love, it's not something I have to get.
You know,
It
but
changed everything.
the problem is that we have these cartoons in the childhood, you know, and then there is this little bird that wants to become an eagle, and it will never become an eagle. But in the story, at the end, the little bird behaves like an eagle. But this is never true, you know. So accept that you are a little bird, accept that you're an eagle, accept that you are a parrot, and enjoy your bird.
Right. Right.
So the Enneagram also helps us to do that, to
Yeah.
appreciate, because we are all manifestations of the same one power, one light, one source. Okay,
One
and we are different, but there is no difference that means at the end of the day better or worse.
or worse. Right. Yeah.
But in some places, they like you more than in other places. And we have to accept that. But if you have a place inside of you that you accept yourself and you don't blame yourself for not being an eagle and you don't suffer because you will never be an eagle, you know, that's part of the process for me. And this is
Yeah.
what is under all the labels that people are not accepting themselves. So
Yeah,
to be
because it separates us, the us
so
and them.
to feel well about them, they look the people that are like them, and then when there are enough people, they say, what happened to us? What is happening to us? What are you doing to us? No, what are you doing with yourself that needs to separate and needs to find your value and something that is not being human? What is the only thing that give us value?
Yeah. When I have in my journey, I have brought Enneagram to organizations, and the benefit of it for the organizations was to highlight how diversity creates the better team. So not that everybody should agree or be talented in the same way or bring the same value, that different people bring different value. And it requires each person to be secure in who they are, not trying to change others, not trying to enforce their way, but to say, I have this value to bring. What value do you bring? And how can I learn from you? How can I expand with you to make the best team? And it was often very uncomfortable because people wanted to be with people who were like them.
Not always. Not always. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I absolutely agree. that diversity means richness. But at the same time, we have to accept that uh, diversity is unavoidable,
Unavoidable.
you know. So we are all different. So
It is unavoidable. You're
every time that you have five people, you have diversity, even
right.
if they are
And
the
but
same time.
it's about not fighting it. It's
Yeah,
about finding it. Yeah.
and feel secure to show you and to
Yes,
share
yes, yes.
and to share what you bring. You know,
Right. Not force it, but offer it. Yeah.
because
Well,
I'm scared that if I show this part of me, they will not accept it, and it's just the
mhm,
part that the team is needing, and it was
right,
there all the time.
right. Well, I've kept you an hour, Pedro.
Oh, don't
And
worry. And this
I
is a good English practice, being able to say unavoidable even.
and you did well. You did well.
Thank
But
you.
I do want to wrap it up for the people who are watching. So anything you want to close with or share with or summarize or end with?
Well, um, I would say that we live in a world that is trying to impose many dogmas about life, from science, from philosophy, from politics. So I would say when someone comes with a dogma to you and you say, "Can you explain why?" And there is no answer because they just think that the thing is only that way, just run away. They are not going to give anything. They have nothing to offer. People who has dogma have nothing to offer.
Yeah, because it's a closed mind.
Yeah, and even don't lose your time in trying to convince them to have some flexibility. There's no possibility. so so it's okay when people share his truth, their truth, but it's never okay when people share the truth. Yeah, makes sense this difference?
Say that again. Their truth versus his truth.
Their truth, uh, if you share your truth,
Yes.
this is very valuable for me. If you try to share the truth with me,
The truth. Yeah.
truth has no
Yeah.
value at all.
Right. Because the Enneagram tells us there's nine versions of truth,
Mhm.
nine aspects of the truth.
No, no, no. There is one truth, but different ways of experience it.
Yes, that's what I
And and
mean.
and
Thank
and
you.
the
Thank you.
so the things that we share is our experience, and that always adds something.
Right.
But when I try to universalize my experience as the truth, that's dogma.
Right. And what I find um, energetically the best thing to do because people are mirrors for us is to let those people be teachers in where am I being, you know,
Mhm, mhm,
contracted? Where am I forgetting curiosity? Where am I being closed minded? And to be grateful that they're showing up because they support us to do our own inner work. And the world changes not by forcing others, but by each of us doing our own inner work, our own processes, our own practices to find that
mhm.
acceptance. Yeah.
And even if the world does not change, your experience of the world will change for better.
Will change when we change. Yes. Yes.
So at
And then
least
the world changes. And then the world changes. Yeah. Well, thank
okay,
you.
thank you very much, Nancy. That
I'm
is
gonna stop this.
a